Hi, I'm Priyanka. Welcome to the Phenometrica system. Using the risk tolerance report in the advice process begins with discussing the report with your client, including individual differences, and then agreeing on a final score. Once agreed, the score is converted to growth assets comfort zones, which you then use to compare with existing and proposed investment strategies. This second part is covered in our next video, Developing Suitable Advice. Discussing the risk tolerance report will help you quickly develop an in-depth understanding of your client and accelerate the establishment of trust in the relationship. Our Quick Start Guide provides detailed guidance. Here I'm going to introduce confirming the accuracy of the report, exploring differences, adjusting the score if needed, so you can start using our system straight away. First, have your client read through the report. When they're done, ask whether the report accurately describes them, particularly the score. If there was a large difference between their self-estimate and the score, your client may have difficulty accepting the score. Explain that the score is calculated as a result of a statistical comparison between their answers and the answers given by clients of financial advisors generally. If their score is lower than expected, that's because they are underestimating other people's risk tolerance and vice versa. It might help if you review their actual answers with them to see if any mistakes were made. Once you have dealt with any concerns about the accuracy of the score, move on to the Your Risk Group section of the report. At the end of this process, you and your client may decide to work with a different agreed score. Here, the risk group description shows how those in Jean's risk group typically answer the questionnaire. The risk group description, as modified by the reported differences, is a summary of the answers Jean gave. You should explore any reported differences, and you must explore differences reported in the investment section. Here, Jean chose Portfolio 5 as her preferred portfolio, but this is not consistent with her risk group, which typically selects portfolios 3 or 4. Her downside comfort zone is a fall of 20%, and she expects her investments to earn twice the risk-free rate. Jean's differences from her risk group are shown in this table. Differences provide an opportunity to open up discussion. They help you understand the specific things that matter to your client, helping you tailor your advice. Differences can be either lower or higher. Both Jean's differences are higher. These answers indicate more risk tolerance than is typical for her risk group. Obviously, differences that are 2 or 3 risk groups away are more important than those that are just 1 risk group away. Jean's preference of Portfolio 5 is just outside the Group 4 range, but Jean's score is close to Group 5 anyway. However, if it had been Portfolio 1, which is typical of Group 1, that would have been a significant difference. For any difference, lower or higher, it is appropriate to ask why your client thinks it might be that they chose an option that is different from their risk group. However, it's important not to make too much of any particular difference. Remember, these are real people, not clones. At the end of this discussion, you and your client might decide that an adjusted risk score is more appropriate. For example, if Jean actually had chosen Portfolio 1 as her preferred portfolio, you and she might decide to work with a lower score, say 44, in her investment calculations. This doesn't happen often, but it does happen. The adjusted score and the reasons for the adjustment should be noted for sign-off and entered at the top of the report. Most of the time, however, you'll be entering the score from the risk tolerance report as the agreed score. As you will see in the Developing Suitable Advice video, it is the agreed score that is used for subsequent calculations. The risk tolerance report, together with notes of your discussion and any adjustment, become your client's instructions to you about the level of risk they would usually prefer to take and something you should get them to sign off on. In this video, I've introduced you to the basics about discussing the risk tolerance report with your client so as to get you going. For more information, please refer to our Quick Start Guide available from the Resources section of our website. Remember, the report is not an endpoint, but rather the starting point for an in-depth discussion that will quickly build a trusting relationship.